What's good everyone, OJ here, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be discussing if the big Bayonetta boycott is actually somewhat backfiring based off of new information that is coming in. Before we get into that, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you are someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. Now, starting off first here, we're going to discuss how Ms. Hellena Taylor, who is the original English voice actor for Bayonetta 1 and Bayonetta 2, the Super Smash Bros. Series, the anime, all that stuff, she was the voice actor. Now, recently it was revealed that Hellena Taylor will not be reprising her role in Bayonetta 3, but they're going to go with Jennifer Hale, who's a very accomplished voice actor in her own right, with Mass Effect and many other games to her name. Now, Platinum Games did state a while back that the reason why that Hellena Taylor is not going to be the voice of Bayonetta in Bayonetta 3 is because of scheduling conflicts. So that pretty much seemed to be the end of it. But recently, Ms. Taylor put out a big video, or actually multiple videos on Twitter, talking about how, well, that's not the case, that she wanted to be the role, but they only offered $4,000. Now, if you have not seen those videos, I highly recommend you checking out my video that I made on it, where I go over and react to all three of her videos addressing the situation. Essentially, she says she was only offered that $4,000. She also goes on to throw the new voice actor, Jennifer Hale, kind of under the bus a little bit. So it definitely seems like she was coming from a place of emotion and being a bit hurt. But please make sure you check out those original videos on her Twitter page, or check out my reaction where we talk about each one of those, because a lot of the information that we're going off of today is going to be referenced in terms of what she had to say there, or so you can get the full picture. Now, a couple other things that I want to note that weren't in my video that I talked about recently with that is that she's actually part of a voice actors union, and apparently that voice actors union that she's a part of, the deal that she was offered for her work apparently fit within the minimum requirements of that voice actors union. And the new actor of Bayonetta in Bayonetta 3 is part of the same union. So we don't exactly know what happened behind the scenes and what Jennifer Hale was offered for her role and how much she's doing compared to what Ms. Hellena Taylor was offered. But I will say one thing before we get into this other stuff here. I completely understand the situation when it comes down to her anger at everything. So that's one thing that I want to make sure that I note here. Not necessarily happy with exactly how it all went down in terms of everything with Jennifer Hale and stuff like that. But once again, I'm thinking that it's coming from a place of hurt, because she really does love the character of Bayonetta. Now, let's get into the topic here of why this might be backfiring when it comes to the boycott. Now, as someone myself, I cover sales numbers, I look at Amazon. I think I'm probably one of the people who actually started notifying the public when it comes to video game sales, digital versus physical, but how Amazon plays a factor into a lot of these games, considering with the pandemic, considering people are now shopping online more. Amazon's gotten so much bigger, it's become one of the biggest places to buy physical games and even to get digital store cards and things like that. So you can't necessarily brush aside what's going on there when it comes to Amazon and their sales numbers. And there's been a lot of calls. I've seen a lot of content creators say that they're canceling their pre-orders or they're not buying the game. I've seen a lot of commenters on Twitter, which seems to be the main place of so much anger and frustration and, you know, calling for boycotts and everything. Whereas on the YouTube side, I was going through my comment section, and goodness gracious, I was actually surprised at how many people were saying that they're still going to buy the game, or they're going to buy 2 copies of the game or 3 copies of the game now in order to support it. So there's definitely an opposing force, you know, when it comes to it on both sides. And I completely see both sides of the coin at this point. But I wanted to get into what's going on Amazon, because people started notifying me like, hey, wait a minute, the sales are actually going up. So before all of this controversy, Bayonetta absolutely on the Amazon bestsellers for the year, absolutely was not in the top 40 or so. It definitely wasn't. Now, Amazon bestsellers, this is the most popular products based on sales updated hourly. Now, most of the time you'll see games that are pretty much on the big end. You have Pokemon, Splatoon, all of that. You have systems and things like that. But when it comes down to it, Bayonetta, after this whole controversy, shot into the top 40, being at number 37 as of the time that I'm recording this video, and it's just been going up, because from what I understand, it was definitely outside of that, and now it's inside of the top 40. So that's interesting nonetheless. Now, if you go to the new releases, so this basically gauges the games that are being bought closer to the release. So it's games that released recently or games that are coming up very soon here. So this is also another way people looking at how a game is going to do at launch, or just kind of what's going on. And if you look at that, Bayonetta has shot all the way up from outside the top 10 to number 9. Now, if you take out duplicate games like, let's say, Madden on the PS4 and PS5, or Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, Bayonetta is actually the 5th best selling game on the list here, in front of Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, which it was definitely behind a number of days ago, or even this week, just like a couple days ago or so. So it seems like there is definitely a conflict here when it comes to what's happening. Is the publicity and what's going down with the controversy of Bayonetta 3 actually helping to sell more copies of the game? Now, we know that Bayonetta was trending big time on Twitter, and TMZ even picked up the article as well, which I'm pretty sure shocked some of the TMZ viewers out there. Like, what is this, considering the type of big names and big stuff TMZ usually deals with? And if you look at it, a lot of those videos that she put out get way more views than pretty much anything when it comes to trailers or footage of Bayonetta. So essentially, you're getting people tweeting about, looking up, researching what's going on here, and maybe even inadvertently to Ms. Hellena Taylor actually making the game more popular and getting more people to buy it. Because I think that there is a strange dynamic in some people's heads that as soon as you tell them to not do something, or you shouldn't have access to something, or don't support this said thing because of what I think, they start saying, well, no, now I'm going to support it because you're saying not to. So I understand where she's coming from a bit. I do think that it's a little bit extreme to try to tank everything because you didn't get the deal that you wanted. I mean, that's just something towards like, what about the other actors and stuff like that? But I understand that it's coming from a place from her, and I understand other people how they feel, but it seems like the opposite is happening. It definitely looks like the boycott is backfiring because the game is shooting past games that it wasn't past before the controversy. And I think that all of the newfound videos being made and people talking about it, and a lot of hypocritical takes from content creators that support Activision and that support Ubisoft and support EA with those games, despite plenty of things happening with those companies in terms of pay, or in terms of salaries, or in terms of illegal type of things, and all sorts of stuff. They're supporting those, or they're paying for those, but then telling people to, hey, you know, I'm going to be completely against or boycotting this. So I think that there's definitely two sides here that are kind of clashing and opposing. And it's interesting to see what the fallout of all of this is going to be. Is Bayonetta 3 going to be a game that drastically beats sales expectations because of all of this controversy, because more eyes are on the name and people are figuring out what Bayonetta is? Is this actually going to cause more and more people just to pick it up despite the cancellations that we've seen from big content creators out there? I think that that's the fascinating thing about this whole story, and a discussion that we had recently on the Spawncast. So make sure you guys check out John's Spawncast. We had a discussion on there about it, and it seems like a lot of people feel that the controversy is really going to potentially help the game. So I'm definitely interested in that. Now, another discussion that I wanted to have was exactly where do we think this game is going to end up at when it comes to these sales numbers. And that's interesting because Bayonetta has never sold more, from what we understand, more than 2 million on a single release system. So it sold more than 2 million when you combine up multi-platform, right? The original Bayonetta, you combine the Wii U, the Switch, the PC, PS4, PS3, 360. Yeah, absolutely. It's done millions when it comes to that. But no single release, from what we know, has done more than 2 million. Now, Bayonetta 2 on the Nintendo Switch did do over 1 million, which is pretty good for a older port coming back and not the biggest style of franchise. So definitely Bayonetta 3, with the huge 110 million plus install base of the Nintendo Switch, is going to beat out those numbers. But what is the floor and what is the ceiling for this? Now, I think definitely 1.5 to 3 million is absolutely in the range or ballpark here, and maybe even more based on these rising sales and the controversy, because I think it's like the forbidden fruit, right? As soon as you tell somebody, no, don't do this, people are going to be like, well, no, I am going to. You're not the boss of me. And I think that that's what's kind of causing some of this, along with people actually going out there and ordering more copies of the game. For every time I saw someone say I'm canceling this or I'm doing that, I saw somebody else say I'm buying another copy. And like I stated before, in my own comment section, I think I have around 600 to 700 comments on that video that I did, which is by far the most that I've had in a very long time when it comes to a video. And there are just hundreds of people just saying I'm still getting it, whatever the case is, and being very defiant about that in terms of what they like and don't like about what she said, and a lot of comments. So if anything, I think that this controversy actually boosted the game's popularity and the name of Bayonetta, and is probably going to backfire when it comes to boycotts. Now, obviously, Bayonetta is not the same in terms of stature or sales as a Pokemon or Activision Blizzard, but people have stated recently that they're going to boycott Activision, right, over the situation. And Overwatch 2 has 25 million players. Call of Duty has never been more popular with its sales. Remember what happened with Pokemon Sword and Shield? People were calling for crazy boycotts and showing canceled pre-orders and everything, and that's one of the best-selling Pokemon games of all time. So I think that there is something at play here. Like I said, there's something definitely at play here. I think there's many people who probably haven't even seen the controversy and don't care. I think that there's people that are saying, well, I'm going to buy multiple copies now. There's definitely people that are canceling and very angry about the situation. So it's kind of all around opinions all over the place. But I think overall, I think it just made the game sell more with all of this. I think it did. Based off of what we're seeing, like the facts right now, it definitely seems like sales are rising with this. So what do you guys think when it comes to Bayonetta 3 and the pre-orders actually being accelerated on Amazon and the sales numbers so far, jumping past games like Mario plus Rabbids, in addition to other titles like Gotham Knights, as well, Persona 5 Royal, No Man's Sky, games that recently released on the Nintendo Switch and other systems that are coming up here. Let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell. We will see you for the next video. Peace.